The unexpected arrival Admiral Cathfar stood motionless before the massive viewing screen that dominated the command center of Galactic Monitoring Station Omega-7. His scaled hands, each bearing 6 clawed fingers, gripped the railing as he studied. The star charts displayed before him. The Zephyrian had commanded this outpost for 23 standard years, watching the quiet frontier where known space met the unexplored void. His golden eyes, adapted for his homeworld's twin suns, rarely showed emotion, but today they held a flicker of concern. The monitoring station was a marvel of galactic engineering, stretching 15 kilometers in diameter and housing over 50,000 beings from across the Galactic Federation. Representatives from the Vorthic Empire, the Crystalline Collective, the Aquatic Syndicate, and dozens of other species worked together to maintain the peace that had existed for over 3 centuries. Their job was simple: watch the borders, catalog new species, and ensure that primitive civilizations developed naturally without interference. Lieutenant Commander Vexthi, a 4-armed mantoid whose species had joined the Federation only 50 years ago, approached the Admiral with obvious nervousness. Her chitinous exoskeleton clicked softly as she moved, a sound that always indicated stress among her kind. The datapad in her primary hands trembled slightly as she prepared to deliver her report. "Admiral, we have detected an anomaly in the Sol system," she said, her voice carrying the distinctive harmonic overtones of her species. "Long-range sensors are picking up an artificial construct, moving at significant velocity toward the outer boundary of Federation space." Cathfar's head turned slowly, his neck rotating further than any human neck could manage. The Sol system was home to a species the Federation had been monitoring for over a century. The humans, as they called themselves, were still in their primitive phase of development. Their most advanced vessels barely reached their own moon, and their technology was considered at least 500 years behind the galactic standard. "Explain this anomaly," the Admiral commanded, his voice carrying the authority of decades in command. Vexthi activated the holographic display, showing a 3-dimensional map of the Sol system and surrounding space. A single red dot moved steadily, away from the third planet, following a trajectory that would bring it directly into Federation territory. The projected path showed arrival at their current position within 72 hours. "Sir, the object appears to be a spacecraft of unknown design. Its energy signature is unlike anything in our databases. Most concerning is its velocity. The craft is traveling at approximately 47% of light speed, which should be impossible for a species that has not yet achieved practical fusion technology." The Admiral studied the display carefully. In his long career, he had encountered many species at various stages of development. Some advanced quickly, others took millennia to reach the stars. But never had he seen a species make such a dramatic leap in such a short time. The last Federation survey of humanity had been conducted only 25 years ago, and they had barely achieved orbital flight. "Run a full spectrum analysis," he ordered. "I want to know everything about this vessel. Power source, propulsion method, structural composition, and any sign of weaponry." As the monitoring station's advanced sensors focused on the approaching craft, the data that began streaming in defied all expectations. The ship was massive, easily 3 kilometers in length, with a design that seemed to blend artistic beauty with obvious military purpose. Its hull reflected sensor scans in ways that suggested materials science far beyond what humans should possess. Dr. Jailan, the station's chief xenobiologist, materialized beside the Admiral in the way that only energy beings could manage. Her form flickered between states, sometimes appearing as a vaguely humanoid outline of pure light, other times as a swirling mass of controlled plasma. Her species had been among the first to achieve interstellar travel, and her expertise in Analyzing developing civilizations was unmatched. Admiral, her voice resonated directly in their minds rather than through sound waves. I have been reviewing the historical data on the human species. What we are seeing should not be possible. Their technological advancement appears to have accelerated exponentially in the past 2 decades. The main screen shifted to show detailed scans of the human vessel. The ship's hull was composed of materials that the Federation's best scientists had only theorized about. Its propulsion system seemed to manipulate space-time itself, creating a localized distortion that allowed it to travel at impossible speeds without violating the fundamental laws of physics. "Sir," Vexthy interrupted, her voice now carrying obvious alarm. "The human vessel is emitting a communication signal. It appears to be directed at our station." Admiral Kethvar felt his 2 hearts skip a beat. First contact with a developing species was supposed to be carefully orchestrated, taking place only after the species had achieved interstellar travel through their own efforts and demonstrated stability as a civilization. The protocols were clear and had been followed for centuries to ensure the peaceful integration of new species into the galactic community. "Put the signal through the translation matrix," he commanded. "Let's see what they have to say." The communication that came through the station's speakers was clear and confident, spoken in a language that the universal translator quickly identified as one of the human languages called English. The voice belonged to a human female, and her tone suggested both respect and determination. "Galactic Monitoring Station Omega-7. This is Captain Sarah Chun of the United Earthship Prometheus. We are approaching your position under peaceful intentions and request permission to establish formal diplomatic contact with the Galactic Federation. We come as representatives of humanity, seeking to take our place among the stars as equals in the galactic community." The command center fell silent, except for the soft hum of the station's life support systems. Admiral Kethvar had heard similar messages before, but never from a species that was supposed to be centuries away from achieving interstellar travel. The confidence in the human captain's voice suggested that humanity was not asking for permission to join the galactic community, but rather announcing their arrival as equals. "Admiral," Dr. Jalon's metal voice carried centuries of experience. "We need to contact the High Council immediately. This situation falls far outside normal first contact protocols." Before the Admiral could respond, the sensor stations throughout the command center began chiming with new alerts. Lieutenant Commander Vexthy's 4 arms moved frantically across her control panels as she tried to process the incoming data. "Sir, we have a problem. The human ship is not alone. Long-range sensors are detecting multiple vessels emerging from the Sol system, all following the same trajectory. I count at least 12 additional ships, all similar in design to the first." The tactical display updated to show the new contacts. 13 human vessels, each one a technological marvel that shouldn't exist, were moving in perfect formation toward Federation space. Their arrangements suggested military precision and coordination far beyond what any newly spacefaring species should possess. Captain Sarah Chun stood on the bridge of the U.S. Prometheus, watching the alien space station grow larger on her main screen. At 42 years old, she had been chosen to lead humanity's first contact mission, not just because of her military experience, but because of her unique combination of diplomatic skills and unwavering determination. Her dark hair was pulled back in a practical style, and her brown eyes held the confidence of someone who had spent years preparing for this moment. "Captain, we're receiving multiple scanning beams from the alien station," reported Commander Marcus Torres, her second in command. The former astronaut had been her friend for over a decade, and she trusted his judgment completely. "They're trying to analyze our ship's composition and capabilities." "Let them look," Sarah replied calmly. "We have nothing to hide. In fact, I want them to see exactly what humanity has achieved. The Prometheus was indeed a marvel of human engineering. Built in the orbital shipyards around Earth over the past 5 years, it represented the culmination of humanity's greatest technological breakthrough. The discovery of quantum field manipulation had revolutionized everything from energy production to space travel, allowing humanity to leap forward centuries in just 2 decades. Asterisk. Captain, called out Dr. Elena Vasquez, the mission's chief scientist, the alien station is massive. Our sensors indicate it houses at least 50,000 beings from multiple species. This is far more complex than we anticipated. Sarah nodded. Earth's long-range observations had detected the existence of a galactic civilization, but seeing the proof of such massive cooperation between different species was still impressive. The station represented everything humanity hoped to achieve: peaceful coexistence and shared knowledge among the stars. Communications? Any response to our greeting? She asked. Not yet, Captain, replied Lieutenant James Park, the ship's communications officer. But we're detecting increased activity throughout the station. Multiple communication channels are active, and it appears they're contacting other locations throughout the galaxy. The bridge crew of the Prometheus represented the best of humanity. They came from every continent on Earth, speaking dozens of languages, but united in their mission to represent their species with honor and dignity. Each had volunteered for a mission that might keep them away from Earth for years. Knowing that, they were pioneering humanity's future among the stars. Captain, Commander Torres said quietly, long-range sensors are detecting multiple fleets moving in this direction. It appears our arrival has caused quite a stir. Sarah studied the tactical display. Dozens of ships from various alien species were converging on their position. Their intentions unknown, but their numbers impressive. It was exactly the kind of response she had expected. Humanity's sudden appearance would naturally cause concern. Among established galactic powers, status of the fleet? She asked. All 12 escort vessels are maintaining formation and ready for any situation, Torres replied. The Atlantis, Endeavor, and Resolution are standing by with their diplomatic teams. The remaining 9 ships are prepared to demonstrate our peaceful intentions through strength if necessary. The human fleet was small compared to what was approaching, but each ship represented technology that the galaxy had never seen. Humanity had approached the challenge of space travel differently than other species, driven by their natural curiosity and determination to push beyond every limitation. The result was a technological leap that had surprised even their own scientists. Admiral Kethvar watched the human ships with growing amazement. His experienced eye could see that these vessels were not just advanced, but revolutionary. Their design principles seemed to challenge everything the Federation thought they knew about space travel and military engineering. Dr. Jalon, what is your assessment of human intentions? He asked. The energy being's form flickered with what those who knew our species would recognize as deep thought. Admiral, their approach is unlike anything we have seen from emerging species. They are not seeking permission or assistance. They are announcing their arrival as equals and requesting recognition as such. This suggests a level of confidence that comes from genuine capability. The communication from the human captain came through again, this time with additional information. Admiral Kethvar, we understand that our arrival may seem sudden, but humanity has been preparing for this moment for decades. We have observed your civilization from a distance and have great respect for the peace you have maintained. We seek to contribute to that peace as partners, not as subjects requiring guidance. The Admiral was struck by the humans' use of his name. Their intelligence gathering was clearly more sophisticated than anyone had imagined. This was not a primitive species stumbling into space, but a calculated entrance by a civilization that had been watching and planning. Open a channel, he commanded. Let us see what these humans truly want. The stage was set for a confrontation that would reshape the galaxy. Humanity had arrived among the stars, and they were making it clear that they intended to be treated as equals from the very beginning. The question now was whether the established galactic powers would accept this new player, or whether humanity would have to prove their worth through more direct means. The countdown to first contact had begun, and the fate of both humanity and the galaxy hung in the balance. Asterisk. The diplomatic shuttle carrying Captain Sean and her team approached the massive alien station. The structure was even more impressive up close, with docking bays that could accommodate ships larger than any in the human fleet. As they followed the automated guidance system to a designated landing area, Sarah couldn't help but feel a mixture of awe and apprehension. Admiral Kethfor waited for them in what was clearly a formal reception area. The space was designed to accommodate beings of various sizes and environmental needs, with adjustable gravity fields and atmospheric controls. The admiral himself was an impressive figure, standing nearly 3 meters tall, with scales that seemed to shift color in the light. "Captain Shun," he said, his voice carrying through a universal translator that made his words clearly understandable. "Welcome to Monitoring Station Omega-7. I must admit, your arrival has created quite a stir throughout the Federation." Sarah stepped forward, maintaining the confident bearing that had served her well throughout her military career. "Admiral Kethfor, thank you for agreeing to meet with us. I understand our arrival was unexpected, but humanity has been preparing for this moment for quite some time." The Admiral gestured toward a meeting area where several other beings waited. Sarah recognized the diversity of species that Dr. Gilon had mentioned, each one representing a different approach to intelligence and civilization. It was exactly the kind of gathering that humanity had hoped to join. "Captain, I must ask you directly, how did your species achieve such advanced technology in such a short time? Our last survey of Earth showed a civilization that had barely achieved sustainable spaceflight." Sarah had prepared for this question, but actually answering it in front of representatives of such an advanced civilization was more daunting than she had expected. "Admiral, humanity has always been driven by curiosity and the desire to push beyond limitations. 25 years ago, we made a breakthrough in quantum field manipulation that revolutionized our understanding of physics. Once we understood the principles involved, our technological development accelerated rapidly." Dr. Gilon's energy form flickered with what Sarah was learning to recognize as intense interest. "Captain, such a breakthrough would typically take centuries to achieve. Practical application. How did your species manage to implement this technology so quickly?" "Because we had to," Sarah replied simply. "Our planet was facing environmental challenges that required immediate solutions. The same technology that allowed us to clean our atmosphere and provide unlimited energy also opened the door to interstellar travel. Necessity drove innovation." The explanation was true, but incomplete. What Sarah didn't mention was humanity's unique approach to technological development. While other species had advanced slowly and methodically, humans had always been willing to take risks and pursue multiple approaches simultaneously. The result was a technological leap that had surprised even Earth scientists. Admiral Kethva studied the human captain carefully. Her confidence was not the bravado of a primitive species trying to impress their betters, but the quiet assurance of someone who knew exactly what they were capable of. It was a dangerous combination that had clearly caught the Federation off guard. "Captain, the Federation has protocols for integrating new species into our community. These protocols exist to ensure stability and prevent conflicts. Your arrival with such advanced technology bypasses these established procedures." Sarah had anticipated this argument as well. "Admiral, with respect, those protocols were designed for species that needed guidance and assistance. Humanity comes to you as equals, seeking partnership rather than integration. We have our own technology, our own resources, and our own perspective to contribute to the galactic community. This statement was bold to the point of audacity. Never before had newly emerged species claimed equality with the established galactic powers. The implications were staggering and potentially destabilizing to the entire Federation structure. Before Admiral Kethvar could respond, urgent alarms began sounding throughout the station. Lieutenant Commander Vexthi's voice came through the communication system with barely controlled panic. "Admiral, we have a situation. Multiple Federation fleets are approaching our position, and they're not responding to our communication attempts. Sir, I think they're here to enforce a military solution." Sarah felt her heart rate increase, but she kept her expression calm. This was exactly the scenario that Earth strategists had considered most likely. The established galactic powers would see humanity's advanced technology as a threat to their dominance and would move to contain it before it could spread. "Admiral," she said quietly, "I hope you understand that my ship and our escort fleet are prepared to defend themselves if necessary. We came here in peace, but we will not be intimidated or forced to submit to anyone's authority." The Admiral's golden eyes studied her carefully. In his long career, he had learned to read the intentions of dozens of different species, and what he saw in this human captain was determination backed by genuine capability. The Federation had made a critical error in assuming that humanity could be treated like any other emerging species. "Captain, I must inform you that the High Council has voted to demand your immediate withdrawal from Federation space. They consider your presence a potential threat to galactic stability." Sarah stood up slowly, her movement conveying both respect and resolve. "Admiral, I understand their concern, but humanity will not be turned away from the stars. We've worked too hard and come too far to be denied our place in the galaxy. If the Federation cannot accept us as equals, then we will find our own path among the stars." The threat was subtle but clear. Humanity was not asking for permission to explore the galaxy. They were informing the Federation of their intentions. Whether that exploration would be as friends or as competitors was up to the Federation to decide. Dr. Xialan's energy form pulsed with colors that Sarah was beginning to recognize as deep concern. "Captain, you must understand that your technology could destabilize the balance of power that has maintained peace for centuries. If other species attempt to replicate your advances, it could lead to an arms race that might tear the galaxy apart. Or it could lead to a new era of cooperation and exploration," Sarah countered. "Doctor, humanity has always believed that knowledge shared is knowledge multiplied. We didn't come here to dominate or conquer. We came here to contribute to something greater than ourselves." The meeting was interrupted by another urgent communication from the station's command center. The Federation fleets had arrived, and they were demanding immediate surrender of the human vessels. Over 300 alien warships now surrounded the small human fleet, their weapons charged and ready. Admiral Kethvar made a decision that would echo through galactic history. "Captain, I'm going to give you 1 hour to demonstrate your peaceful intentions. If you can show the Federation that humanity truly seeks cooperation rather than domination, I will recommend that the High Council reconsider their position." Sarah nodded grimly. 1 hour to prove that humanity deserved a place among the stars. It was a challenge that would test everything her species had learned about diplomacy, technology, and the courage to stand up for their beliefs. "Admiral, you'll have your demonstration, but I think you'll find that humanity has more to offer the galaxy than anyone imagined." The fate of humanity's future among the stars now rested on the next 60 minutes. Captain Sarah Chun and her crew would have to prove that sometimes the newest voice in the conversation had the most important things to say. The galaxy was about to discover what humans could achieve when they refused to accept limitations. The countdown to humanity's greatest test had begun, Asterisk.